Hey guys, this is Sean with the From Corner to Corner podcast. Just a brief little blurb here. We're going to do a throwback episode to the first episode with Coach Brian Miniard, the new Montgomery County baseball coach. We were on site with Menifee County this week and unable to do our regular show. So sit back, relax. If you haven't had a chance to listen to this episode, take a listen. I think you'll like it.
The guys behind the From Corner to Corner podcast are diving deep into Montgomery County High School sports with the Community Trust Bank Coaches Corner. Join us as we talk local high school athletics with your local coaches. Whether you're a student athlete or a screaming fan, this is the place to turn to get the inside scoop before the next big game. And now it's time for the show with Sean Kiper, Neil Payne, Adam Muncy, and Wes Crouch.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of From Corner to Corner Coaches Corner, presented by Community Trust Bank.
Your friend in banking.
Member FDIC.
Sean, Neil, and Adam are here with you today, and we got the distinct pleasure of being joined by the new MOCO boys baseball coach, Brian Miniard. Brian, welcome to the team.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we're not...
Acknowledge him.
Yeah. Yes. So... We don't have the pleasure this time to have the first interview. Dan got that with you earlier this week, but we're the first in-person interview, first sit-down interview.
Exactly.
So that's kind of our shtick. Is since we've started doing this and coaches have come on board here, we've pretty much been the first people that have had the opportunity to interview them. So we're excited to have you in the studio with us.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
So, Coach, why don't you take a few seconds and tell everybody about yourself?
Well, it'd probably only take a few seconds. I'm coming from Somerset, Kentucky. That's where I currently live right now, and been coaching baseball down there for a couple of years, and then got this honor of being the new head coach of Montgomery County Indians, and I'm extremely excited about that. I'm married, bringing my wife with me, and I have a son that's going to be a sophomore, so he'll be enrolling at Montgomery County High School next week. And so he'll be in there, and he plays baseball, obviously.
All right.
So, yeah, that's the gist of what I'm bringing up now. I've been in coaching for a little bit over 20 years.
Okay.
My background, I started out as a strength coach. Then actually,
couldn't tell.
Right.
I mean, it just lets himself go. We're joking, obviously. He's ripped. He's my dream of what I want to look like.
So I did that for several years. Actually spent some time with Cincinnati Reds. And, so
wow.
That was real cool, especially right out of college, being a young kid and doing that. So then I moved from there, went to University of Tennessee and spent a couple of years there. And then I got back into coaching baseball again.
Wes's favorite team?
I really wish Wes was here to hear that he came from Tennessee.
Right. Yeah. Well, I grew up in Hardin County, so pretty much all the sports that we saw was not University of Kentucky, really. It was Tennessee Station. So I grew up a big Tennessee fan. So I actually went over there to college and played ball at East Tennessee State University. And that's actually where I got back into coaching.
Okay.
So I was a volunteer there for a couple of years and grad assistant. And I kind of moved on from there. Actually was blessed to get a head coach job at a private high school in Nashville. So I spent about 5 years there. Had some good success. Had a lot of good teams, good boys there. Won a couple of conference championships, won a state title there. That school was actually a Christian school, so we played. They actually have a Christian high school athletic association in Tennessee, so it's separate from what Kentucky does. And so I spent about 5 years there, so we pretty much played just the Christian private schools around the state of Kentucky. Had a big long travel. We don't get to go up the road to 30 minutes and play a thing. We had to sometimes stay overnight and do things like that. But
oh wow,
that was really cool though. I had some really great kids. I had some success there. That high school actually closed down after a couple of years. And so I went from there. I sent a whole lot of boys to Hiawassee University, which is just right above Knoxville there. Yep. And so they ended up knew me very well from doing that. Had a lot of kids go there and play ball. And so they asked me to come on. So I was on their staff for quite a few years. And then they closed down. So I hope Montgomery County don't close down. Spend a couple years there. We'll just we'll hope it don't close down. But after that, they actually closed down. It's a private school too. And so I went from there and moved back to Kentucky. And I coached up Great Crossing High School in Georgetown. Actually, the first year it was open. So I got to do that. COVID kind of hit, so kind of messed up the baseball season on that one. And then we ended up moving down to Somerset. So I've been down there the last couple of years coaching baseball at Pulaski County High School.
Okay. Well, that was my follow-up question because I know there's Somerset and then there's Pulaski County. So I wasn't sure which one it was.
Yeah,
so.
There's also Southwestern down there.
Oh, wow.
Somerset Christian High School.
So you were a Maroon.
I was a Maroon for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Maybe the worst nickname in all of sports.
I agree completely. I still can't figure out what it is.
What is a Maroon?
What is a Maroon?
So it's funny that you mentioned Hiawassee. I played college soccer at St. Catherine.
Oh, did you
and
really?
St. Catherine and Hiawassee were rivals.
Yes,
basically.
they were.
So do you know Luther Bramlett?
Yes, I know who that is.
Okay, I know Luther pretty well. So you talked about the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes.
What did your stint with the Reds look like? What did you do there?
I was there for 2 years. I graduated and got out and really loved the strength conditioning part. That's all I did was lift weights while I was in college and play ball. So I got out of there and actually did, I guess you would call it like an internship. I did that for 2 years with the Reds, and it was awesome, man. I probably learned more baseball than I did strength conditioning.
Right.
Because just the unique approach that they have towards the game and stuff. I would get called in and say, okay, this pitcher's falling off the mound. He's got a weak front side. What can you do to help him? So, I was there when Larkin was there. When I was leaving, King Griffey Jr. was there. None of them. So, it was just an awesome experience to watch those guys, how hard they work and their preparation. Griffey would be there 2 hours before anybody else. In the cage, he doesn't hit 200 balls before, he even got with the team.
Yeah.
It's just very unique, and it's humbling to watch how hard these guys work. I tell my son all the time, I say, it's not just about rolling out of bed and coming just playing a game or just doing what, the coach tells you. These guys get there for the fact that they spent so many hours by themselves doing the right things. And I really got to watch that. It was just, I don't know, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was awesome. Every day I just sat there, kept my mouth shut, and just listened to everything I could hear. I got to work with their pitching coaches, their hitting coaches, and all that. It was just an incredible experience.
Yeah.
It sounds like an incredible experience.
Kobe Bryant was always the first one there and the last one to leave.
Absolutely.
That was his thing. So and if you're going to get to that level, that's what it takes.
It does.
Talent alone will not get you there. You have to work at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, you're talking about talent, and Montgomery County just had a talented senior class. Lots of boys. We just had our 2022-23 Student Athlete of the Year was Matthew Rowlett, pitcher from the team. So we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about it. You graduated a lot of players. So you're young. How do you overcome that? What do you have to do as the head coach to mold those young players into playing championship baseball?
I'll be honest with you. I'm extremely excited that we're that young. I know that a lot of coaches probably don't find that too appealing because you guys did graduate 11 seniors. They all 9 starters were gone, and so but it brings a unique approach to the game. So I'm going to have I'm going to be really heavy sophomore and freshman heavy this year. Not too many kids actually with varsity experience. Probably, I think I've counted about 4 or 5, maybe 4 kids got varsity experience, including my son. And, I think the big thing is the experience factor is what's going to be the big thing we have to overcome that, especially on the mound.
Right.
It's a lot different, having a good arm and going out pitching, middle school or even summer ball at that age. You're going to face grown men, 18, 19 years old. And the thing that I want to, stress to my guys is it's going to be okay to mess up.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay to fail at times. As long as they're playing hard and going after it, I'm going to be okay with that. And I think that's the big thing because you're going to have a lot of kids wide-eyed when they step on that field. And they're going to be scared to death that, I get upset with them. Mommy and daddy's going to get upset with them. They're going to disappoint the team. And that's something I've really got to stress to my guys. That's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up. You're going to go over for 4. But it's okay. We're going to come back the next day. We're going to try again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the big thing. I've been thinking about it a lot, every day, all day, just about how do I get these kids ready to step out on that field and play some of these, teams that's, senior, junior loaded, and for them not to be scared and not be afraid to mess up. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
And, Matthew talked about that when he left was like how much younger the team was, but he was naming off guys going, this kid's good, this kid's good, this good. And he's like, the seniors kind of overwatched these boys and kind of like helped them out. And, the fact that they went as far as they did this year gives them really good confidence, if nothing else, going, man, we're just a year removed from getting to the regional tournament, winning a district championship. And, I'd say the hardest part's going to be you lost the entire rotation, from my understanding. I think the entire rotation is gone.
The majority of the arms that pitch the innings are gone. Yeah. Yes.
So you've talked about you've had pro experience, you've had college. What is it about the high school game that just draws you in? Why do you want to be a high school coach?
Man, I love the rawness, and that's what I'm inheriting right now. It's just raw talent. Being able to go in, obviously when you're around a bunch of, college players, especially pro, I mean, they're already successful. It's just a matter of them managing mostly the mental side of it. But the big draw for me in high school is just the raw, talent that you have out there. Most of the time it's undisciplined, it's unexperienced. And so that's the big draw for me. I love the situation I'm in. Like I said, a lot of coaches probably disagree with me and they want to come into, 10 senior starters and stuff. But, man, I am so excited to start with these young kids and to build something over the next couple of years because I think we're going to have something real special.
And in a way, I think it's kind of an advantage. Though I kind of agree with the way you're looking at it because I look at it going, if you come in here and there was 12 seniors on this team that's been doing it the same way for the past X amount of years, it's old dog, new trick, right? And so you're better off like, a lot of these guys are going to be starting for the first time, and it's like there's no place like learning it on the job, right? And I kind of agree with you. I believe if I was in your position, I'd rather have the youth than the elders on that. I mean, it wouldn't hurt if you had a couple of seniors sprinkled in there, right? But I don't disagree with you. I believe I would want to take it over the exact same way because at this point, the freshmen, you got a whole 4 years with them. And then the sophomores, you got 3. And I don't know if there's any COVID left out there or not, if there's anybody got COVID eligibility or not. You may grab an extra year or two somewhere in there. But in another year or so, they're going to be right where you want them to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. You touched on something there. When you come in, especially a new coach, and you've got a handful of seniors that's been doing it a certain way and are used to that culture, man, it's hard to change it. I mean, it really is. Most of the time you got to let it go. But, that's the positive thing I've been thinking about. Is like, I don't have 7 or 8 seniors that then I'm going to have to start rebuilding next year. I get to do it now. Right. I get to rebuild right now. And I kind of hate that word using it, but I know that's kind of what we're in. But, rebuilding teams can win also. Right. But that's the one thing that, I don't have to worry about. What these guys do for me this year, I'm going to have them next year, the year after, and the year after. And man, we're going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
You talked about, we obviously have touched quite a bit on being loaded sophomores and freshmen. You have 3 seniors, I believe, and a junior, if I looked over the roster correctly, and a lot of young players. What is your, do you have a priority for all players? Is it individually? How do you, do you have a goal in mind for all of them? Do you have a team goal, individual goal? Well, what does that look like, especially with younger guys, to get their confidence, their skill level up to varsity level?
Yes, I do, and that's something I'm going to do with my team when we get started here in the fall. I like getting my teams together and just talk about goals. I like to set with the team, and we're going to make some goals out for this year. How many wins, is our goal? Go to win a district, go to the region this year. And I do, yes, and I've looked at that. I do have 3 juniors that's returning, and I hope that I can have those guys on the field. Have some of that leadership, some of that experience out there. I know the Obenhauser kid, he played quite a bit last year. He's an outfielder, going to be a senior, so it'd be wonderful to have him out there. Kind of helping these young guys on his left and his right. And so if I can have that, that's going to be a blessing to me and to the team. But, my goals right now, except a few guys right here, I told them when I interviewed for the job, we're going to be young, but I come here to win. I want to win the district. I want to go to region. And after that, I expect us to make some visits in the state the next 2 or 3 years. That's my goal. I didn't come here to, just say, I'm rebuilding to see what happens. No, I feel like I can get these boys prepared. And we're going to, like I said, my goal is to win the district this year and make some noise in the region. Hopefully, the ball will fall the right way and we something happen great. But, definitely over the next 3 years, I expect us to be standing, UK playing in the tournament.
We hope so. So that brings me to ask you this question, Coach. You talk about your experience with the Reds. You talk about your experience at the collegiate level and, high level, private, high school. Why Montgomery County? What brought you to Montgomery County?
I've wanted to get back in head coaching, obviously, ever since I left college again back. And just really, I was looking at the right moment and the right place to do it. Montgomery County has just a great history of baseball. I mean, you guys have produced some wonderful players. I mean, they've had some wonderful records here, and it's a baseball school. And I love that fact about it. That's what really drew me to this county. And I love the fact, too, that you guys are only high school in Montgomery County. I love that because that high school gets all the support.
You're not competing against 4 other schools,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I've been there. I've done that. I grew up doing that. In Harlan, when I was growing up, we had 4 high schools. And so he gets a little divided and stuff like that, and kids start wanting to jump ship and do things like that. So, just the whole kind of layout environment that Montgomery County, had, I want to be a part of that.
Nice.
And I'm very excited that I was chosen for this position.
It's funny. We heard that from Mays and we heard that from Caba both going, well, there's only one high school
Right.
here, and that is a reality for sure because, kids moving to Montgomery County is one thing. But if you're in Lexington and there's 17 high schools, all you got to do is move across the street and go to a different high school sometimes. So, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, recruiting is a thing that's in high school now. And so you see that kind of stuff, transpire more and more. Dad gets a job here, and next thing you know, his star high school baseball or basketball player or whatever, football player, whatever's on the team, that kind of stuff happens, and everybody's doing it. So it's just part of it, and you have to not having to compete against other schools in your own county makes that advantageous. I can see that.
Yeah, even when I was, I told you guys I started, I coached at Great Cross High School, and at the time they still do have the agreement. As long as you set where you want to go before the school starts, you can go to either high school. And so our first year at Great Crossing, we had 60-some kids go out, try out for baseball. And the majority of those had, they came there for why? They came there because it's new high school, new coach. They wanted to see, what was going on. And after a couple of years now, I've kept up with them, and because I'm good friends with Greg Stratton up there and his coaching staff still. And, a lot of those kids have trickled back over to Scott County. And so, we don't have to worry about that. They're going to come up Montgomery County, and, I'm going to treat every one of them with respect and be fair. I've got 9 positions open on the baseball team right now.
Right.
And, it's the best 9 will win.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to do it. And I want to touch on this just for a second because I know a lot of, when you get young kids like that, they're worried. The parents are worried. I also am a coach that, I don't forget about the other kids on my team past that night. It's going to be a competition all year long.
Yeah.
You might not start the first game. Especially being this young, some of these kids are going to develop a little bit slower than the other ones. And that's okay. But, I'm going to work with them just as hard as I'm working with my guys that, start every game. And, I've coached in the past where I've had a kid that was third, on the depth chart in a position, end up starting in the district tournament for me.
Yeah.
Just because he worked his butt off, man. And he just ended up, overcoming what it is. So, it's going to be a fight all year long. I know a lot of teams you see and you coach on and been around that, the fight ends in February. No, my fight ends when last game of the season goes.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be fun to watch these kids go at each other and try to earn a spot all year long. So,
yeah. Well, and I, to me, if I'm one of the kids on that team and first time I'm meeting you, you go, I got 9 open spots out here. It's up to you guys who's going to fill them, and it's all about who's going to try the hardest, who's going to work the hardest stuff. To me, if I'm hearing that as a player, I'm like, dang it, I got a shot.
Right.
I just got to show him what I got. I got to work hard,
Which is all any athlete asks for is an opportunity. I want an opportunity to compete. So you talked about you touched on fall ball earlier. Are you? I mean, there is fall ball and there's summer ball. Are you involved in any fall or summer ball teams? And how do you plan on getting your guys involved in fall and summer ball?
Yeah, I've coached at KBC up in Lexington, Kentucky Baseball Club, the last couple of years, and so I've been a part of their program, summer ball and stuff. I have not coached for any organization for fall ball stuff like that. Just like our team here, first week in October, we're going to start hitting weight room. We're going to get after it there. But Lexington now they've done this for the last couple of years. They have that fall league up there. You got to get invited, and I can get my guys in there. I'm probably not going to do it this year because we are young and I need to work on. They need to work with me right now. But probably for the next couple of years after this year, I like to get them up there in that fall league and just give them some experience. They get to play on UK's campus, their field. That's kind of fun for them. Right. And get to play against some really good competition because mainly it's from that 11th region that gets invited to things like that. So I would like to get them involved in that. And obviously, if any kid, wants to play for a summer team and they're having problems or something like that, I'm going to help them out. Yeah. And any kid that wants to go to college, I know a lot of head coaches in high school just can't stand summer ball. They can't stand travel ball. I'm different. It's just the nature of the beast anymore. You have to have it, especially where the recruiting rules just got changed. It's more important than ever now. And, I'm going to have little after the season for kids that wants to go to these prospect camps and these showcases. I'm going to have showcases day here in Montgomery County. I want to teach them how to better prepare for those and might even host one for the area kids around here and invite some of the college coaches around. I would really like to get my boys exposed to that stuff. Yeah. And I will do everything in my power to, help these kids, further their education and go on and play ball a little longer.
Right. I mean, we say on this show often that if an athlete can use the sport to help pay for college in any capacity, whether that's a partial ride or a full ride, I mean, that's an opportunity that not many people get. So that's awesome that you're that committed to helping make sure your guys get that kind of exposure.
And we've told a lot of coaches and a lot of players that have been on the show, the number one way to become the KimSoft Athlete of the Week is to sign a letter of intent, because to us, it's kind of like the ultimate goal, right? So let me ask you this, Coach. I know Coach Mays, Coach Kiper have both talked about they've been doing stuff with some of the younger kids and maybe introducing that program like a summer camp or something like that. Is that something you've ever done or looked to or thought about doing, to where like the younger kids that are not quite to the middle school age? I know we've got rec ball, but
don't get me started. Yeah. I'm trying to be good right now.
I've been informed about that a little bit.
It's not the greatest situation in the world. So I just didn't know if that, because it's kind of one of those things, you being the head coach, these kids that are in rec ball, summer ball, middle school, whatever it is, eventually they're going to be your kids. They're going to be your players. And, it's just kind of, I just didn't know if that's something you had done before or if it's something you thought about doing, because getting kids at a younger age and getting them interested in it is kind of how you develop a long-term program.
Absolutely. And that is something I want to get involved with. I definitely want to get involved in the middle school program. I plan on hosting summer camps for little guys like you're talking about, guys that are not quite in middle school age and stuff, because I do think it's extremely important. I'm going to end up inviting the middle school up to practice with us a couple of times before season starts. I haven't sat down with the middle school coach yet, but me and him will sit down and talk about some things, because, it's very important that by the time they get up to me as freshmen, that they have some kind of ideal of how we run things. Yeah. And also their skill level. I want it to be, to a point where they can take off of what we're doing instead of having to catch up, roll back a year or two and try to get these kids caught up where they're, because the only thing that does is slow down your program. Yeah. And it slows down the guys that you have that's been there for a while, that's ready, and they're able to play. So, I plan on getting my hands in every bit of that people will allow me to. And because I really want to build just an incredible feeder program up to the high school, because if you look across the state, the guys that are going in there winning, I mean, you look at the St. X's and Trinities and stuff, I mean, that's what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, they're getting these kids when they're little in the middle school program out to the high school. By the time they reach the high school level, man, they're ready to perform. They're ready to produce. That's what I want.
And exactly, because you want them coming to the team as a freshman. That if there's a freshman that is a varsity starter, you want him to be there, right? I know basketball and football, or I don't know about football, but are 8th graders, 7th graders allowed to play on the high school level for baseball? Like if you had just a standout out there, would he be able to play if he?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I say that because I've had it myself when I coached high school ball. And also my son started when he's in 8th grade. He played a whole lot on varsity and actually pitched a whole lot on varsity. And so, no, if I got a stud out there lingering around, I don't really, obviously 8th graders up, I probably won't take a 7th grader. And the only reason I say that is, and I know a lot of high schools have it on their roster, it's just the maturity. Yeah. The maturity level, physical maturity and mental. Yeah. They'll benefit a whole lot more staying down to the middle school. But if I have a kid that's mature and physically mature too, and he can produce for me, absolutely. He'll be sitting on my roster, and I'll give him every chance in the world to come up and produce for me. That's the thing about JV. We're sitting here kind of talking about development. I've seen high school coaches when JV comes, they get in their truck and, they ride down the road. I want to use JV sort of like my developmental minor league team. Yeah. That's going to be a place that I'm going to really hold dear to my heart for the next couple of years, because it's going to be a place where I'm going to be able to send my pitchers down and really get them some experience. Maybe they're not just ready to pitch in the varsity game, but they're almost. And so, I'm going to be very hands-on. You guys will see that with the JV. I'll be there, I'm going to be helping their coach. I'll let my assistants obviously get out and get their hands dirty with them too. But, I'm going to make the lineups. I'm going to decide who's going to pitch in the JV games, just for the reason I want to see some of these guys develop a little faster. And, and maybe they're, struggling maybe in a varsity game, and I need to send them down to the minors for a week or two, just
same concept, right?
Absolutely.
Get the confidence back.
Absolutely. I think that is just a wonderful thing that I have with this too, is that JV, and I want to really utilize it too. So kids that maybe start out on JV, not varsity, they need to understand that I'm holding that just as close to them, as my varsity team. So.
Yeah. So aside from being the skipper of the Montgomery County Indians baseball team, and do you still do any strength and conditioning coaching?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So what else do you do, Coach? Like what is your 9 to 5?
Okay, my 9 to 5. I came up with this years ago. I'm a financial planner. Okay. So I do that, and it's crazy. I own my own business, but it's all online. Uh-huh. So I got clients from all over the country that I kind of help with their finances and stuff, and so I get to call my own shots and schedule my stuff. So it's been wonderful to do that and be able to coach baseball. So, like I said, sometimes I've came home after games before and worked on stuff, where I get up at 6 a.m, but it's something that really gives me the freedom to be able to coach baseball, work on the field and stuff like that. But yeah, I do financial stuff for people, kind of help them get out of debt and kind of plan their futures and stuff like that. Nice. So that's my day job. Okay. My passionate job is baseball, but that's my day job. Right.
So what position does your son play?
Man, he's a bigger kid. He's a corner guy. He mainly plays third base. He plays first some too. He pitches. He's about 6'3.5", 220 right now. So he
did not look that big sitting out there in your truck.
Yeah. I tried to get him to come in, but he's like, they might put me on the podcast. So I'm like, well,
100%. Yeah. We absolutely would have.
They probably will. They'll ask you something. So he stayed out in the truck. He's hiding from you guys right now. But yeah, he's a big old kid. So he plays mainly third base, first base, pitches. So that's probably, if that's where he wins, that's where he wins. I know he's my son, but he has to earn it just like everybody else does.
Right. So you're not like Coach Prime and just going to say, I'm bringing my quarterback.
Yeah. I'm bringing my Louis. Bringing my Louis.
He's coming with it, but he's going to have to earn everything he gets.
Yeah. So, have you thought about a staff as far as like assistant coaches, or do you have anybody coming with you, or is it more you want to look for local guys for that?
Yeah, I have 2 guys that's already committed to me so far. They haven't ran through the system yet, become coaches yet. But one of them's from Georgia, one of them's from Mississippi. And so the guy I got coming from Mississippi, he actually started his career out as an athletic trainer. and he did that at Mississippi State, and he was a catcher in college. And so he kind of moved himself into kind of help with Mississippi State, coached their pitchers and stuff. Went from there, he actually went to Atlanta Braves. And you all will appreciate this. He was there when Smokes and Glavin and those guys was there. So he was actually
gotta talk to him. Braves is my team.
Oh, is it really?
I've been ever since I was a kid.
Okay, I saw you live. I was live up over there, so I figured I did said something right. So he's going to help me out with my pitching. Be my pitching coach. He's he's just a wealth of knowledge and just a wonderful guy. These kids will love him, and he'll just be so good for Montgomery County baseball. The other guy's a catcher. He caught in college for several years, and so he's coached baseball for about the last 10 years, and so he's going to come on my staff too. And he's a wonderful catcher's coach and a really good hitting coach too. Understands the game real well. So those two guys right there, or two guys I've kind of locked in so far. I would like to grab somebody local because I think it probably would be good for me to grab somebody local and the kids kind of understand and know. So I'm thinking about it and discussing that with a couple of people and stuff right now. So, but yeah, my staff will, like I said, I've got two right now that's not from Montgomery County, but I would love to have somebody from Montgomery County kind of help me out.
And those catchers are natural coaches anyways, right? Because, they're kind of responsible for that, calling the game and stuff. And catchers are generally some of your better athletes, kind of like your shortstops and stuff like that, especially at the lower level stuff. So that sounds promising on that part of it for sure. And I know that's a tough decision to make, right? Because, they're just as important to the vitality of the program.
Oh, yeah. That'd be priceless to me. And I'm not saying I'm a hard guy to coach with, but I'm kind of a hard guy to coach with. I like the things my way and stuff like that. And there are two guys that understand that. And we all care about each other, respect each other. But, at the end of the day, I've got to let my coaches loose, man. I got to let them go and let them coach. And I have to trust them, when they give feedback to me on certain kids and stuff like that. So it's extremely, to me, it's one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle that I'm trying to put together right now. So I'm being very careful about it, being very diligent about it. And like I said, I've got two so far. Definitely going to add another one, maybe two more. I don't know. I don't like having too large of a staff, but I like having all my kids covered at practice. Yeah. So that's something that I'm still sitting here pondering on right now.
Now, when you mentioned something a while ago working with the JV coaches, will one of these guys be the JV coach? Or is there a JV coach? I didn't even know we had a JV.
Yeah, but, most coaches will designate somebody as the head JV coach. I kind of talked with this, with Austin and them actually in my interview, and since then, it's unique the way I want to approach it. Like I said, I won't be a base coach. I won't be back there sitting watching all these guys and seeing what they're doing. But I will be making the lineup and kind of deciding who's going to pitch, just solely based off the situation of kids I want to see get those reps and see how they're handling those positions. But I will have somebody that kind of, it's kind of like the head JV coach, if you want to say, but I'll kind of still be calling the shots back there. Like I said, it's not a control thing for me. It's just something that, especially this young group, that I really want to, have my eyes on at all times, because I think it's very important. I don't want a kid be out here, busting his butt and just killing it and me, all, staring into the sky over here, not really paying attention to them. So, but my guys will be the base coaches, because any coach that, now these two guys I got, they have no ambition of being a head coach, ever. One of them's an older gentleman. He's done that. He's been there and done that and won national championships and travel ball and stuff. So he's like, they're just there to help me. But if I do have a guy that has ambitions to go on and be a head coach, then, I will insert him in kind of that role as a JV kind of head coach right now.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I was sitting there thinking I would be a terrible third base coach because I'm sending everybody.
Until the kid proves he can make the throw, let's go.
I'm testing everybody's arm, coach. I'm waving them all on.
Well, I might be calling you later because I'm the same way. Listen, we're going to be so aggressive on the base pass. I'm going to have so many people mad at me. But we're going to play aggressive ball, man. That's the thing about the young team. Sometimes you might run into a team that you're just not experienced and as talented as. But those little things like that, man, that can change the trajectory of a game. sending kids, getting them running. But yeah, you're going to see. I'll get a lot caught this year, but it'll be on me.
Yeah.
It won't be on the kids. I'll make sure when I have a parent meeting, be like, listen, don't chew your boy out in the car on the way home. I was the one who did that. But they're going to have the green light. If they can read the ball, they're going to have the green light. They're not going to have to wait on me a whole lot. So we're going to be a fun team to watch. I mean, like I said, we're going to get out some, and we're going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, well, good. Listen, we were live at the district championship game, and the last half inning, we did no words are said. We're just standing in awe and it wasn't a high scoring affair. Obviously, it was. I mean,
1-0.
1-0 was the final.
Hit by pitch.
Hit by pitch. Yeah. So, but there were no words spoken because we were.
We were like, "Oh yeah, we're on a podcast." By the way, we just had a walk off.
But so, you watch baseball and it's exciting when those things happen, and so that is fun to hear from a fan perspective that it's going to be you're not going to try to small ball it. You'll probably small ball if you have to, but I'm going to, we're going to get out, we're going to run, I'm going to challenge you, and if you can beat me, then you can beat me, but I'm going to make you beat me.
Absolutely. And like I said, some of these hardcore baseball fans that follow baseball their life, or, somebody like my dad that's, older, follow baseball, they kind of get mad at me because, you will swing on a 3-0 pitch. If you've been hot, you got the green light. We're swinging. That first pitch, I'm a huge advocate, man, for swinging on that first pitch. Don't let the pitcher get ahead of you. Smack one out there in the field, put one over the fence. Start that tone for us. So, like I said, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to play hard, and so we should be a fun team to watch.
Good. I too, in those same regards, I'm swinging the first 3 pitches. No matter what they look like, I'm swinging at them.
That's why I never played baseball. Every pitch looks good.
Every pitch looks good. I think I can just yank it right over the field. Most of the time I strike out. That's okay.
Well, I mean, I know when I'm playing the show, I'm swinging every pitch, trying to run all the time. So I mean, look, you can't score a run standing on first base, right?
That's right.
You got to go all the way around. So, well, that's awesome. That part of it. Now, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
You're wearing a We the Ones Uso shirt, right?
That's right.
And I told you a little bit beforehand. We started out as a wrestling podcast, that's kind of our love affair.
Right. As soon as you had posted that, shared your hiring, your tagline is "We the Ones."
Right.
So is that something you're rolling with?
Yes, absolutely. I told you guys before we started here today, you will have a shirt that says Montgomery County Baseball, We the Ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm a big wrestling fan, and a lot of that will be incorporated.
Nice.
Some of our double and triple celebrations might be, the Roman Reigns ooh-ha.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have some fun with it. I've already been looking for a belt. So when those balls start flying over the fence,
yeah.
then we're going to strap it on.
Yeah.
And, start, acknowledge and raise the ones up when they cross the plate. So, we're going to have some fun, man. Yeah, you're definitely going to see some wrestling.
If we can get the Montgomery County crowd when somebody crossed the plate, everybody out there raising the ones up, acknowledging them, that'll be great. Cool. That will be great.
Well, so SummerSlam's next weekend.
Yes.
I'm sure you knew that.
Oh, yes.
So does Roman retain?
Me and my son has went back on this 1,000 times. It's hard for me to think that Roman's going to give the title up at SummerSlam.
I agree.
I think he's going to keep it again until WrestleMania. I think it's going to be one heck of a match. It's going to be very entertaining.
And Jay is going to almost win 5 times.
Yeah, he's going to be that. It's going to be that Sami Zayn and Roman match again.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a match.
Holding your breath every second. Oh, Sammy's got it. He's got it. So no, I do think he retains, and I think that he's going to have to lose at WrestleMania.
And it has to be Cody Rhodes, right?
Yeah, it has to be Cody Rhodes. Has to be Cody.
Yeah, because he has to finish the story.
Yeah.
So, are you at all excited about Cody Brock 3? It's going to be a goofy stipulation. They're talking probably bull rope match. Does that excite you?
It does excite me. I'm kind of a Brock Lesnar fan, just because he's so brutal
and he's so good.
He's so good, man. I mean, everything he does is just. I mean, it almost looks like he's feeling every bit of it. He's truly mad at the guy he's fighting with. So I think we might see a little blood during that match, and I think it's going to be pretty brutal. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
And that's what I told these guys. I expect Cody to get his tail kicked, but I also expect him to kick tail too. And I think they're both going to be battered and beaten up at the end of the match. I think Cody has to win and go over.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's got to end this little feud with Brock. So I think Cody does well. I think you're right. I think Cody's going to get beat to death, probably for about 80% of the match. Then Cody's going to come back and win. Then that's just going to set him up to get back against Roman and them. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun match.
We've of course, this is what me and him do. We talk just about every day, and we're constantly booking. Air quote here, booking what we think should happen. We both are in agreement that the only way that Cody can get back to Roman is he has to win the Rumble again, but he has to go from the number 1 slot this time because he's got to earn it. He's not, up until the first match, it was just easy. So all that we're seeing with Cody right now is him just being beat down. He's a la Hard Times of his dad's path. He's got it constantly, just something is in his way. And so I'm sure there's speculation that Bray Wyatt is going to be his next opponent and he might show up at SummerSlam. But whoever it is just going to keep him through the fall and get us to Rumble. And I would be stunned if Cody did not come out at number 1 and win the Rumble.
Yeah, I agree too, because he's come out every week and he's doing this, legacy thing to Dusty. And I think he has to take a whole lot of beatings to get there right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you guys watched Dusty and Ric Flair back in the day.
And the best thing about that storyline was the chase. It's that Dusty would get so close and then the Horsemen would come down and they would beat him up. There'd be disqualification or the referee would get knocked down and then Arn would come in and spine or they'd break his leg. So the chase. Once Dusty accomplished the chase, the storyline was over.
Right.
And they never were able to regain that. But the chase, and that's why whenever Cody was in the match this past WrestleMania against Roman, everybody was like, Cody's going to win. No, he can't win because it's too easy. It's too easy. He hasn't done anything to deserve that spot other than win the Royal Rumble. And he came out at number 30 then. So, he literally hasn't done anything. So, I think it's going to be perfect storyline. So, Coach, I'm going to end you on this. One of the first shows we started was a Mount Rushmore, and we would do that's where our logo came from, and we would do a Mount Rushmore of something. So I'm gonna ask you a 2-part question, okay? And they're both Mount Rushmore. Words are hard. Words are hard. You're gonna give me your top 4 Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers, and it can be from any era, anytime, and give me your top 4 baseball player Mount Rushmore.
Oh gosh, I think the wrestling ones will be harder than baseball. Okay, top 4 wrestlers. I got to go with Ric Flair.
Okay.
Obviously. I think I'm going to put The Undertaker in there.
Okay.
I almost want to put the Heartbreak Kid.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to have to throw Dusty in there.
All right. That's a solid.
Can't argue the 4.
Can't argue.
So before you get to the baseball one, we did a 10-week series where we ranked and counted down the top 50 performers, male, female, tag team, whatever, of all time. And we would come on the show and we would do 4 a week. We would 4 or 5 a week. I can't remember. I think it was 5. And but we went through all that. We did like a preview show of who didn't make the list. That was interesting. But that was one of the hardest things in the world we ever did. We went back and forth on this. I don't know how much. We were like, well, we need to move this one to here, this one to there. We get halfway through the list and we realized we hadn't added Booker T or the New Day. And so we had to
fit in.
We had to drop a few people out. But our 4 was
we went Flair, Hogan,
Austin, and Cena.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena were all top 4.
And my biggest argument was the Undertaker was not top 4.
People can say Undertaker. People can say The Rock. People say Dusty. That's what makes Mount, and that's why we went with Mount Rushmore. Is because my opinion, the way I see it, is different than yours, but that doesn't make either one of us wrong, and it makes for pretty good banter. So your top 4 is different than mine, but I can't argue that your top 4 is wrong because you got some heavy hitters there.
Look, Dusty Rhodes was one of our biggest arguments because he did not want him in the top 10, and I was arguing for him to be in the top 10, which he ultimately did not make the top 10. But, like, that was probably the biggest argument I had. I think our top 4 was locked in before we ever started the list.
Right.
We both agreed with that. And the reason we looked at it is Flair, Hogan, Austin, and Cena carried 4 decades of wrestling every phase. Like right now, Roman is making a strong push to be in the top 10 of all time.
Right.
And by the time this is all said and done, he might bump Cena off of that list, you know?
So now to bring it back to baseball.
Okay.
Who is your Mount Rushmore of baseball players?
This will be a little easy. My number 1 all time is Nolan Ryan.
Ryan's a good one.
I love Nolan. He was just a
He
beast.
could strike you out and knock you out.
Yeah,
That's Robin
absolutely.
Ventura.
Absolutely.
Either way you want it, you're going out.
So I got him. I think you got to include Pete Rose,
Okay.
Barry Bonds, and the 4th one is usually the hard one for me. Let's see. I would almost put Ken Griffey Jr.
If Ken Griffey Jr. didn't play with reckless abandon early on in Seattle, his Seattle days, he probably would be the greatest player of all time.
Yeah. Because when he came to the Reds, he was beat up.
Yeah.
He was struggling with a lot of hip issues and a lot of little things like that. He was an advocate weightlifter, and that was probably the only thing that kept him in the game there towards the end, was just keeping his body that way. But that would probably
that's a pretty solid top 4. I mean, Rose and Bonds are almost impossible to keep off the list, for sure.
Barry Bonds is the player that Ken Griffey Jr. made baseball cool when I was a kid because he wore his hat backwards.
Oh, yeah.
The smoothest swing in all of pro baseball history. So he made baseball cool and fun to watch, but it was Barry Bonds that made me a baseball fan.
right.
Barry Bonds is, and the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is a travesty. Like it's wrong on so many levels. You throw Roger Clemens' name in there, you throw Kurt Schilling's. I mean, the fact that these guys aren't Hall of Famers when they are Hall of Famers just shows you how broken the Hall of Fame system is in baseball.
Well, and in the summer of '98 with Sosa and McGuire going back and forth,
One of the best things ever happened in baseball.
I mean, you were getting to the news, watching Sports Center, whatever you could do, because you wanted to see who hit how many home runs that day. I mean, it was like every day one of them hit a home run, and I mean that was so much fun watching that summer.
Yeah, that was probably the funnest season I ever had in football, watching those two do that. Like you said, I mean, you were trying to get to the TV every day. If not catch the game, you was catching Sports Center or somebody because somebody was doing something incredible.
Yeah.
And they was just two good dudes, too.
Yeah.
I mean, just two good guys going after it. But yeah, I mean, they will definitely be my honorable mention just because of what they did.
I'll still never forget Mark McGuire hitting it out of Busch Stadium. I mean, like, not only did you hit it 600 feet, you hit it 600 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Like, it was a massive
And
shot.
the day that Sammy Sosa took the lead and Mark McGuire come in that night and hit 2 and took the lead back, never gave it up after that. It was the only time that Sammy led the whole time. So, but it was like, it was fun. It was fun. Baseball is one of my favorite sports. Me and my family, we spent a lot of time at the Whitaker Bank ballpark when it was Legends and stuff before COVID interrupted that whole process over there. We haven't been back over there since just because seasons change, right?
Yeah.
But I love baseball. We play fantasy baseball. He used to play fantasy baseball with us. So that's always a big part. So,
well, and and it sounds like, just listening to you, I'm excited for the season. It sounds like it's going to be fun. Don't know how many games you're going to win, but you're going to go out and compete every single day to get better, and I think that's all we can ask for. We hope that you'll come back and join us often. Heck, if nothing else, we'll sit down and talk pro wrestling. But we have started a Kim Soft Athlete of the Week. So when it comes baseball season, if you have a kid, and that's kids that take care of it and take care of business in the classroom and on the field. So if you have a kid that's really showing out, be sure to reach out to us. Let us know. and so they can be in the running for Athlete Week.
Okay, I sure will. And you have a personal invitation to every game that we have here in Montgomery County, and I hope to see you guys out there. And, I mean, if you want to come out every game and do something, you feel free to do it.
You provide us hot dogs, we'll be there.
I'll make sure you have unlimited supply.
Hey!
You just earned your biggest fan right now.
Oh, I do want to say this before we end this. You know, I told you we're going to make some of these shirts. So when we win the state, I will get some say we the only ones.
There you go.
That's
So,
good.
y'all remember that.
I hold you to that.
I like that. Well, Coach, again, thank you so much for coming up. I know you're still living in Somerset, and I know you were already up here today. So thank you for making time to come over and doing this and meeting with us. We look forward to seeing what you're going to do and follow along. And look, once you get the socials and stuff going, let us know. We'll share and tag and do all that stuff. We try to support all of the different programs on that stuff. And if you need us for anything, if you want a promotion or something put out there, you let us know. Okay. And we'll be all about that. So again, another great Coach's Corner. And I hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I hope you're as excited about the baseball season as we are. For Neil, Adam, and Sean, we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe, friends.
The MOCO Four Horsemen would like to thank you for listening to From Corner to Corner. Be sure to go out and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on, be sure to go out and give us a 5-star review. Thanks as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week.